Hello everybody, it's Lucas here and welcome to part 2 of my 3-part series Escaping the Faith, in which I talk about my experiences with the Church of Latter-day Saints. If you're new here to my YouTube channel, then why not subscribe if you like what you see, because I do a wide variety of content from retro gaming to topics and discussions of interest each and every single month. Okay, so for those of you who have seen part 1, I will go into part 2 in a minute, but if you have not seen part 1 of my introduction to the church and its members, I will post a link to that video in the description, and that video will get you up to speed and give you more of a detailed analysis of kind of how I met the sisters and how I attended meetings in church. But to put it briefly, in a nutshell, I met up with them. And over the period of several weeks, they would try and recruit me into their church. Now, they started off as being really nice, but I felt the intensity was going up a notch, as you will soon find out. So yeah, check out part 1 if you haven't done so already. Alright, so grab yourself a cup of tea or your favourite beverage, and let's once again explore the Church of Latter-day Saints and my experiences. Once again, I just want to say, if I've not already done so, that I do not want to make fun of the Latter-day Saints, the church, or their religion. I truly believe people are free to believe whatever they want to believe, and even though I don't necessarily share some of their views or opinions, I do respect them as people for believing what they believe. Okay, so let's get into part 2. Okay, so I talked about how I'd been attending church, as it was the only way I could get to meet Sisters Patty and Selma each week in the library, which I'd actually preferred. You know, we were having such nice discussions. And again, it was almost like there was this silent trade-off that in order for them to meet with me again, I had to go to church. I met up with them again in the library after one church session, and the question come up again, as it always did: what do you want to get out of our time of meeting together? And I said, well, I just want to know more about your religion. Again, they said, well, you really need to become a member, and you need to join our church. Our church is the one true religion, and do you believe in God and Jesus? And I noticed they would bring up God and Jesus quite a lot in our discussions. And I said, yes, I do believe, but not to the extent that you guys believe. And they kind of were scratching their heads, and it was as if they were saying, what is he doing here? You know, is he wasting our time? Is he playing games? You know, I wasn't doing any of that. Honestly, I just was interested in them and wanted to know more about them. I even said, you know, look, I just want to know more about what you do, that's all. You know, as I said, I'm very interested in different religions and different faiths. And they asked me, they said, are you happy? And I said, yeah, I'm very happy. I said, when I met you, I was happy, you know. I feel very fortunate at my time of life, you know, to be as happy as I am, because I'd just come out of therapy. I didn't tell them what had happened. I just had this really bad time, this bad experience I'd been through. I'd had therapy, and I'd come out the other side, and I was feeling good. So the sister said, well, wouldn't you like to be blessed? And I said, well, I am blessed. I said, I've got a place to live, I've got a family, you know, I'm not rich, but, you know, I'm doing okay. I'm quite content. And they said, well, wouldn't you like to have more blessings? And if you join our church, you will have more blessings, and, you know, you will have so many gifts, you won't know what to do. I said, no, you know, I'm fine as I am. And again, it was like banging my head against a brick wall, and I just wanted to meet up with them again anyway. I didn't want to hurt their feelings. I did actually tell them before I went on that session, I said, look, you know, please don't take this the wrong way. I have a lot of respect for both of you sisters, I said, because you believe something so strongly in your heart, and even though I don't necessarily share that belief, hold on to it with all your heart. Do not let it go. Never stop being who you are. Never stop believing what you believe. And they were like, oh my God, you know, wow, you know, they were really happy, because, you know, I'd like to think I'm quite a genuine person, and I didn't want them thinking that I was wasting their time. Again, I just wanted to know more about them. So I left them, you know, and I was thinking, God, I hope they don't think that I'm messing them around or playing games. And this is where it gets a little bit stranger. Now, I'd given the sisters my phone number, which turned out to be a big mistake on my part, because they would phone me every day. Now, I don't mind a courtesy call, but it was like every time the church had something on, it was like, hey, do you want to come and see ABBA, an ABBA tribute act in Stafford? I was like, no. And it was a case of, hey, we've got a ride, it'll be okay if you come along. And I'm thinking, well, how do you know that? Have you asked the person who's going to drive us there? Because the sisters don't drive, I don't drive. And it's one of those situations where I wouldn't feel comfortable. So I politely declined. They even gave my number out to somebody without my permission, and I had somebody phoning me up asking me to come round for dinner. I'd never met this person. My phone went, he says, hi, it's Julie here. And I'm like, who? Julie. I said, no, I don't know who you are. We met at church. I'm like, oh, okay. And I do remember it now. Hey, I just wanted you to know, that I really enjoyed your company. Would you like to come round for dinner with the sisters and we can have a meeting? And I was like, how did you get my number? And they said, oh, Sister Patty gave me your number. And I thought, that's a little bit rude, isn't it? They could have asked me. I wouldn't have minded if they'd have asked me, but they blatantly give this person that I'd probably only met once my number. God knows why, but it was just really, really weird. But anyway, this would continue. Hey, this is happening. Hey, we're going bungee jumping in the park. Want to come? Sister Selma's going to be shot out of a cannon. Would you like to come? All right, I'm exaggerating, but you get my point. I said no. But I would agree that to see them at church. So I went to church, and once again the sisters tried to shoehorn me into one of their events. They hadn't told me that after the main service that today, all the members would bring in food and have a gathering and chat, and it would be lovely. So the service ended, and I was expecting it to be a priesthood class or Bible study or something like that, because I literally downloaded all the stuff onto my phone and I was getting the hang of it. And reading more and sort of learning more about the religion, and they hadn't told me this, so everybody started going into the hall. I said, Sister Patty, where is everyone going? I'm a little bit panicky. Oh, they're all going into the hall. Oh, we didn't tell you, did we? There's a feast going on. Everyone's brought food, and I thought, oh my God. So they're like, yeah, you're here now, so you might as well just come in. And I was like, oh, not that I was offended or I didn't want to come. I just didn't know. So I went into the room. I thought, right, I know I'm a little bit shy and anxious, but I'm going to go in. I'm going to make an effort. So I went in. I got some food and I sat down. And then Elder Donald came up to me, and he'd been handing out pamphlets about family ancestry. And we started talking about religion, and he said, what's your religion? And I said, oh, I grew up a Catholic. I never really went to church, but I did read the Bible, and I feel God's presence every now. I'm not super religious, but I just believe in doing the right thing, etc., and being a good person. So he said, that's interesting. He said, would you like to come to my house for a meeting? The sisters will be there and a few other people. I want you to come to my house. And I said, yes, I would, thank you very much. Now, the reason why I accepted was because Elder Donald had asked me. He hadn't gone for the sisters, or the sisters hadn't asked me and had presumed I'd come. He himself, had asked me. So I accepted. I shook his hand. I said, thank you. I took it as a true gesture from a true gentleman and a very, very nice man. So I said I would come to the house. So this was going to be on a Monday, which was literally a day later. So as Monday evening rolled around, I put on my best designer clothes. I slicked my hair back, kidded myself. I looked real cool, as Joe Jackson said, or sang. And I actually met the sisters on the way and another couple who was joining us. So we went into Elder Donald's house, and we said a prayer. It was nice. And then the sisters got out these styrofoam cups with different words on: faith, belief, hope, all these sort of religious words. And we were each asked to pick a word, basically, and just talk about what particular word we'd seen and what it meant to us. And so I chose faith, and I remember saying I believe faith is the most important thing, because having faith in yourself and having faith in something, genuine true faith, metaphorically, you can move mountains, you can do almost anything you put your mind to, and I think there's not enough of it, and I think some people do find faith a very difficult thing, but it takes time and, a lot of practice, you just got to keep going at something and just have faith that it'll work, or words to that effect. And they were like, oh my God, yeah, you're so right. So it was nice. And then I started talking to the couple. I spoke to Molly first, and she was lovely. She told me that she was an atheist, or she had been most of her life, but she'd only done it because she wasn't sure what her religious beliefs were, and she was also quite angry. So she even said, "Should I was shout? Should I'm an atheist? I don't believe in God, and I don't believe in anything." And secretly, deep down, she said she'd always had this sort of belief of God and Jesus, and she said joining the church had helped her to reaffirm this belief and help it to grow. And she said she now believes, and she's very happy. And I was so happy for her. I was, I said, well done, you've done really well there, and I'm glad that you found faith. I'm glad that you found the church, because it's doing you good. And she smiled and nodded, and it was really lovely. But then her partner Gerald, we'll call him Gerald, my God, this guy, I'm going to say he was a complete arse. Now, do you remember in part one when I said about how there's a fascination with people from different countries, and some people go on and on about different accents? Now, to me, it doesn't matter where somebody's from. Again, I love everybody. It doesn't matter where you're from. I treat everybody the same. If somebody's from America, I respect the fact they're from America. I don't go on and on about the country. I'll talk about the differences, to that extent where I try to impress them by thinking I know more than I do, because I don't. Anyway, Gerald, there was a fire going, I remember, because it was cold. Gerald said to the sisters, "Hey, you going to have any outdoor stuff?" And they said, "Yeah, we got this bonfire thing going on." He said, "Oh, we should bring some s'mores, And he kept going on about America and the differences between our government and their government, and how their government was wrong and all this. And I'm like, who is he to say these things? You know what I mean? He doesn't live there. And talking about Donald Trump and Boris Johnson and the differences. And I thought, yeah, I get it, but I was thinking, just shut up, for God's sake, no one cares. He just went on and on and on, and the sisters were kind of rolling their eyes. But luckily, Elder Donald sort of managed to get him off the subject and pulled out a Trivial Pursuit board, and we played Trivial Pursuits, and I was on, I think, one of the sisters' teams. I can't remember which one, but we won. We worked together and we beat Gerald. I won like 2 or 3 times, and they had the easy questions as well, because they'd specifically asked for that. So all in all, it had been a really good evening, apart from Gerald, But Donald's wife kindly drove me and the sisters to our respective homes, and again, it was lovely. I'd had a good time, and I thanked her and her husband for their generosity. So anyway, on the Friday of that same week, I'd just gone into the gym. My gym is now sadly closed, DW Sports, unfortunately. Gone into administration because of COVID. But anyway, I'd gone into my gym and I received a text, "Hey, there's a fireside in Runcorn, would you like to come?" And I said, "What's a fireside?" They were like, "Oh, it's where people get together of a certain ward, and people from all over the country gather together at this one church and listen to testimonies from members of that ward." And I said, "Yeah, I'd really love to do that." And once again, it was like, "Oh, we know Dave. Dave's got a car, and you can come with us." And I'm like, "Well, have you even asked Dave? This is it." I was like, you shouldn't just presume that Dave's going to take me, someone that he doesn't know or has only met briefly. I know you guys think I've got a real hang up about this, but I just believe in good manners. So I said yes, because I wanted to find out more about them. I wanted to see how the church had impacted on their lives. So I agreed. And on a chilly Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock, I'd been to church already. I had a few hours to spare, so I watched Columbo on the telly, and then I put on my best bib and tucker and waited for the sisters outside the church. And Dave arrived, and I introduced myself. I said, "This is Lucas." I said, "Would you like some money for the journey?" I said, "Because you don't really know me that well, and you're taking me, and I think it would be the right thing to do." He said, No, put your money away." I said, I felt, because Runcorn's a long way from where I live, But he was really, "Look, don't worry about it." He said, "It's fine." So, I thanked him profusely for letting me come along. And we got in the car and we had a nice chat, me and the sisters. It was absolutely lovely. Dave asked me about myself and I asked him about himself, and it was nice. I started to feel a bit more comfortable, and most of my anxiousness kind of went away. It was about 6:30 when we arrived. I think the service was at 7 or something like that, but we had plenty of time. Dave was a great driver. He put his foot down a bit. We got there on time. And as soon as I got to the church, it was lovely. I was shaking hands with more people. I met elders and people, just really lovely people. And I was smiling, I thought these are really lovely people, nice. That's a word I tend to use a lot, is lovely. So I was happy, I met a few people that had actually left my particular ward as well, and who'd moved on to like Manchester and things like that. So we all piled into the church, and at this point the sisters were asked to do something, because there were loads of sisters there, loads of male missionaries and loads of female missionaries, and they didn't quite know what they were doing for that evening. So we first got into the church, we sang some hymns, and then the speaker said, right now the male and female missionaries are going to sing for you, and they're going to perform the Children of Zion. And it was lovely. It was such a beautiful song. Again, even though I don't believe in their religion, my God, my heart was like, wow, it's such an amazing performance. And the sisters have got such lovely voices, particularly Sister Selma, really beautiful voice, and I told her, I said, I really loved your singing. She said, oh, thank you very much. And then after that we sang a few more hymns, and then Sister Selma started crying. And I said, you were right. She said, yeah. She said, it's just when I sing this particular hymn, she said, I get upset, it makes me cry. And I really felt for her even more. I thought this lady is so sweet, and she believes in her heart so strongly what she's singing, fiercely, and I respect that totally. And so we handed her a tissue and made sure she was all right. And then after that, the people of the ward got up and did their testimonies, and most of their stories were, they'd fallen on hard times and how the church had helped them get back on their feet. And you know what? I'm going to say it right now, even though, again, I don't want to be a member of their church, the church does do some good. It really does. I said right from the beginning I wanted a very balanced view, and it does. There's no denying that. I've seen it. I've seen how it can change people's lives. I saw former drug addicts, alcoholics, people from abusive homes, and standing up there talking about how strong they were now and how finding the church has helped them find faith in things. So I think that's very important to bring up. That I believe that there's something in life that you can find that can help you. It may not necessarily be the church, but if you can find that thing to help you, then you will go far, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. And I spoke to a few of them after, and I said, thank you so much for being so brave to get up there to talk about it, because it takes a lot of courage to do that. And I shook hands with one guy, and we were talking, and I kind of realised we had quite a lot in common. He's a former, I guess he was an alcoholic, you'd call it, and I'd had my battles with the bottle, maybe to not that extent, but I kind of, recognised some of the things that he was going through as well. So it was lovely. After all that had happened, we felt so great, me, the sisters, and Dave. And so it was time to go home, and I was a little bit kind of, I wish I could kind of stay, but well, we had to go. We piled in the car, and I didn't think this next thing that's going to happen was going to happen. It come completely out of left field. We were in the car, and as we're driving away, the sisters are talking to me about religion, and I say something. I don't know what I've said. I can't remember. But I'd said something, and Sister Selma started crying. I said, oh my God, are you all right? She said, yeah, I'm fine. She said, your words are beautiful. She said, you spoke, I've never heard God's words spoken like that before, the way that you've said it. And tears were streaming down her cheeks, and she was so happy. She said, no, I'm fine. She said, I'm happy. She said, thank you so much. I was like, I hadn't really said, what I'd said had really touched her, And, I was glad that I wasn't glad that she was crying, but I was glad that she was happy, Then all of a sudden Dave was like, when we were in the church, I heard angels, and I heard angels playing trumpets, and I felt God's presence, and I felt Jesus. And it was like, it's not that I don't believe him, or I don't know what was going in his head, but it was as if he was just pretending. I didn't get the feeling that he was genuine particularly. It was as if he was trying to impress the sisters, by saying these things. And he was also like, it was like he was getting angry as well, but he was hiding it through this veneer of like, you know, happiness. But I got the suspicion he wasn't really happy. You know, he goes, oh yeah, we're in the church, I felt it, oh my God, we're going to sing some songs now, we're going to sing. and he got out his, I don't know, his computer and his downloads or whatever it was, plonked it into his car, and we had this massive religious playlist of songs. And this was where the carpool karaoke portion of the journey began. 3 hours of non-stop singing all the way from Runcorn all the way back to my hometown. Now, it wasn't so much the sisters. They had lovely voices, I could listen to them all day, but Dave was banging on the dashboard, onward, and he just wouldn't stop, you know. It's like, oh, and I was just like, all I could do, guys and girls, was smile. And like, yeah, that's really good, yeah, how do you get out of here? Damn these childproof doors. I'm like, you know, in my head, I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? Do I sit there? I don't want to tell them to stop because it's not my car. They just would not stop singing. All the way from there, all the way back, they just kept on and Irish on. Oh my God. By the time we got back to our hometown, their singing had literally wiped me out. I was so tired. I didn't know whether I was coming or going. I couldn't even give them proper directions to my house because I was so tired. I managed to amble out where I was, but it was just too much, you know. I just wanted to go to bed, so I managed to get away from them. But before that, they said, hey, do you want to meet up with us again? I said, yes, I'd love to. But this time, why don't you come to my house? I said, you know, you've shown me a lot of kindness, generosity, and I want to extend the same kind of kindness and generosity to you. So you guys can come round to my house on the Wednesday. And so that's what they did. They come round and they saw my piano in the corner and they said, hey, you know, you play piano? And I was like, yeah, I play a bit. They said, will you play something for us? So yeah, so basically I sort of write songs as a hobby, and so I played them a couple of, you know, tunes that I'd written, and they were like, oh my God, that's amazing. And they were recording me. It's a bit OTT because I'm not a very skilled piano player, if I'm honest. I mean, I got up to grade 5, which I suppose you might argue is quite skilled, but I'm not as skilled as I used to be. I guess I used to practice all the time and do scales, but it's like, it's something that you've got to sort of dedicate to yourself every day. But I can still kind of, you know, knock out a tune every now and again anyway. And so, once again, it was like, hey, we really want you in our church. And they started to bring up the idea of baptism. They started talking about, hey, have I been baptised? I said, yes, I was baptised when I was a little baby. And they said, well, you know, you join our church, you need to be baptised, you know, we need to arrange that, you know. And I said, no, I don't want to join your church, I'm quite happy as I am. You know, once again, they said, open the Book of Mormon and get on your knees and pray to God and ask them if the Church of Latter-day Saints is the true church, you know. And I didn't want to let them down. I knew the answer would be no. But I said I'd do it for them anyway, just to keep them happy. But as time went on, their tactics became a little bit more manipulative, I'm going to say. Even though they're really nice people, they started to really trying to aggressively recruit me. And in part 3, I'll explain about how we'd still have the meetings at the library or the church sometimes. They decided to change the venue to try and get me into the church. And now, hindsight, it's a wonderful thing. I didn't realise it at the time. They said, hey, you know, we can meet you at the church because it'll be easier. We're doing something there anyway. What they were really saying was to themselves, if we can get him into the church and meet him there, you know, we'll apply a little bit of pressure and that's how we'll get him into our church. And they would often invite members to our meeting, to my meetings with the sisters, to try and, you know, nudge me in that direction, to talk about how the church had changed their lives. But it just started to get really, really weird. So I'm going to explain about that in part 3. This has been Lucas McIntosh. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy my content and would like to see more, then subscribe to my channel, because I do a wide variety of content each and every single month on my channel, from retro gaming to health and lifestyle and discussions and topics of interest, which is something new I've kind of just started doing. Don't forget to check me out on Twitter at DodgeThisGame for all the latest happenings on my YouTube channel, and join me for part 3 of Talking Mack, which will be coming in a couple of weeks. I do have more retro videos on the way, but I'll probably do a few more discussion videos in the meantime as well. Let me know if you've had any experiences with the Church of Latter-day Saints or any religions in general, and your thoughts and feelings. And I hope I've done, I hope I've done my story justice. And once again, I have total respect for the Church of Latter-day Saints and its members, and people can believe whatever they want to believe. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for watching once again. I know I keep saying that, and I'll see you next time for part 3. Take care.